Board right away and get you up to date. A lot of finals in, of course. Here's 42-7. Big day for Wilbur Montgomery. 20 carries, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 a 72-yarder. Atlanta over highly touted New England of the AFC. 37-21. Junior Miller, 8 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game. What's wrong with the Jets? 2010 Buffalo Jets now 0-2. Ferguson 11-19, 141 yards. Billy Sims does it again. 3 touchdowns against the Rams. Paramore against Green Bay. Carries the ball 20 times for 134 yards, 2 more catches for 94 yards. That's 5 touchdowns in 2 games. Pittsburgh comes from behind to beat Baltimore 2017. Bradshaw goes 25 yards to Jim Smith for the winner in that game. Seattle hangs on against Kansas City. 17-16. KC's Nick Lowry, pickup from Dartmouth, kicked a pair of 50-yard field goals, 157 yards in that game, but Seattle holds on. Chicago downs New Orleans 22-3. Walter Payton, 18, 183 yards, including a 69-yard run for a touchdown. Way to go, Walter. Cincinnati over Miami 7-0 at the half in that game. What's wrong with the Dolphins? St. Louis and San Francisco. Bill Walsh sends everybody out in his pass patterns, and Hofer pulls one down from DeBerg, and they're on the board in the 3rd there. Now Oakland trailing San Diego 10-3. It was Fouts Jefferson that has put the Chargers ahead in the 2nd. And of course the game you are watching, Denver over Dallas, and the Cowboys have to be troubled, and I should say they have to be tired because of that long travel back from Washington. And speaking of Washington, 2014, they lead the Giants at the half, and that is an entertaining game. You know, it is generally agreed that professional football is a different game than it was in its earlier era. We hear the players are bigger, faster, better coached, but there have always been giants on the earth in the NFL. Now, in what will be a regular feature of our doubleheader Sundays, Jack Whitaker explores legends of the game, and today, a look at a player who is tougher than crushed rock.
E-A-G-L-E-S, go, Eagles, go! Hey, hey, Tampa Bay, look at all the shine! Hey, hey, Tampa Bay! Yes, we're the Houston Royals.
1980, pro football is king, the new national pastime. 20 years ago, when stadiums were not pleasure palaces and the grass was real, the game was played by a breed now as extinct as the dinosaur, the Warrior. Such a man was Concrete Charlie, Chuck Bednarik. Bednarik was All-American at the University of Pennsylvania, All-Pro with the Philadelphia Eagles, a member of the Hall of Fame. Number 60 was a 60-minute man who played both ways, center and linebacker, and led his team to the NFL championship in 1960 against the Green Bay Packers. Well, Chuck, we both logged a lot of hours in this great old stadium, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
You in college and the pros. There's a story going around, Chuck, that you and Chuck Noll had a little altercation in your playing days.
Well, Jack, I'd never been knocked out in my life, and on a 4th down punting situation right here in Philadelphia, as I snapped the ball, brought my head up to go downfield, I got hit with a forearm. I'd never been knocked out in my life, and I was woozy, and I finally came to. I saw a yellow flag go by, which meant there was an infraction, and I saw number 63, and I said, and I can't use the Aggies, I said, when this game's over, I'll get you. I'll get you when this game's over, I'll get you. I'll come in the locker room. I said, when this game's over, pal, I said, I'll be right here. Game's over, and I look, and here he come. As he approached me, he said, are you ready, you son of a... By the time he said the other word, pow, it was all over with. We were on television back to Cleveland. I received a lot of nasty letters. Bert Bell was in the stands. I was fined $100, and I was told to apologize 4 weeks later when we were going to Cleveland, which I did.
In the 1960 championship game against the Green Bay Packers, Bednarik, the linebacker, helped bottle up premier Packer backs Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor. On offense, Bednarik, the center, started the wheels in motion for quarterback Norm Van Brocklin and Tommy McDonald.
And the biggest thing I remember, we were ahead 17-13, last play from scrimmage, right there, 9-yard line.
I remember.
Got Taylor, laid on him, looking at this clock right here because I could see from there the seconds ticking, and he was trying to get up, and I got a figure 4 on him, and that southern accent telling me in words I can't use again. And when I saw the clock go 0, I got up and said, you can get up now. This blankety blank game is over.
With the Eagles on the verge of a title after 2 decades of mediocrity, the man who shaped their glorious past is helping to shape their future as well, as an assistant to Dick Vermeil. He is Chuck Bednarik, the last of the Warriors.
Dan, for a couple years, you were a warrior with him. What was he like in an Eagle defensive huddle?
A real excitable guy, take charge type guy. But, you know, he had those steel gray eyes, and you saw the expression on his face in that piece. A real competitor.
Did you ever cross him?
No,
Okay.
never would.
All right. The NFL Today will continue on CBS with highlights after these messages from your local stations. Irv, I know you've got laryngitis, and I hate to do this to you, but take your Philadelphia Eagles against Minnesota. What a day they had.
Great day. Of course, they won the ball game 42-7. It's the first time since 1961 they won their first 2 games of the season. There goes Wilbert Montgomery on his left end for a 72-yard run. Brent, it's the longest CD run of the year so far in the lead. The Eagles take a 14-0 lead. But Tommy Kramer gets his glove back into the hunt with a pass to number 28, Ahmad Rashad, for a 16-yard touchdown, 14-7 Philadelphia. But in the third quarter, Leroy Harris goes over his right guard for a touchdown. The Eagles take a 21-7 lead. Jaworski goes to the air and hits Scott Fitzke, a wide receiver out of Penn State, who's earned a job on the Eagles squad. And they, again, widen their lead. And late in the game, Jaworski goes to his favorite target, Harold Carmichael, who now has caught 114 passes in 114 consecutive games.
Atlanta, Steve Bartkowski pulls out here, Irv, and goes to Wallace Francis. Francis, one of the quicker receivers, and he steps on in, and it was 14-7 Falcons. Here's one of Irv's favorite players, tight end by the name of Junior Miller, rookie from Nebraska. Great big target. He can block off the line, too, and Irv says, watch out, could be the rookie of the year. Now, watch this play. At the time, it was highly controversial. Grogan goes to Stanley Morgan. From the Atlanta 26, they call a touchdown. Both feet were not in bounds, but as Irv Cross pointed out, he's shoved by the defensive back. Good call by the official down there in the corner. New Orleans, Chicago, Mike Phipps pulls out. Do you realize that a Bear tight end hasn't scored since 1977 before this play right here? And it was Fisher on in against the Saints, 10-3. Russell Erxleben, his troubles continue to mount. Missed that field goal that would have put him back in the game. Archie Manning's reaction. Manning played the second half with a broken nose. Alan Page tackled him in the end zone for a safety. Now here it is, Walter Payton, one of the best plays of the day, 69 yards for the touchdown. His longest touchdown run as a Bear. And Chicago is back in business. And the NFL Today continues on CBS in just a minute.